All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Unscripted. Today, you got Jay McLovin, is moi. And then we got to my right, your left, I believe, if I'm correct, is Foxborough Frankie C., also known as Frankie the Yankee, Frankie the Bruin, and Frankie every fucking thing else. Frankie, how you doing today, my brother?
I'm doing great, Jay. It's cold here in New York. We're starting to get some rain the last 2 days, and snow's coming pretty soon by Friday, Saturday. So I'm trying to stay warm.
Yeah, sucks to be you. I'm in Houston. Right now, we're at 52 degrees. But anyway, by the way, if you live in the North, I totally sympathize. I lived in the North at one time, too. It sucked. I hated shoveling. I hated scraping ice off the windshield. That's why I moved back south like any other normal, rationalized person would. However, and a comma, today is an amazing day. Daniel freaking Jones gets released by the New York Giants. Frankie, first of all, brother, how you doing?
I'm sorry, you said, how do I do it?
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. I mean, as a Patriot fan, I absolutely hate the Giants. Not as much as I hate the Jets or the Bills. Giants, and it's for special reasons. But I've always said, since they drafted Daniel Jones, I believe in 2018 or 2019, that it was a mistake. Like, it was a mistake. And even Giant fans knew that it was a mistake.
Yeah.
Had no choice but to stick with it, right? I mean, Eli Manning was literally about to walk out the door and retire and walk into the sunset and say, the hell with it. I won my 2 Super Bowl rings with this franchise. I'm good. I did what I did. And the Giants fans just had to stick with this. So I feel better today than Giant fans feel yesterday. I know that a bunch of Giant fans are kind of happy about this release. Obviously, it's long overdue, but I feel better today than Giant fans did yesterday. So,
hey, before I give my comeback on what you just said, because marijuana is legal in New York, throw up your doobie like a puff. I'm gonna throw up my Jack Daniels and iced tea, and then we're gonna get it going. So here's a toast to you, Frankie.
I'm trying to be respectful for our network, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not gonna, we're gonna be professional here. People told
Let's go down the avenue. That was not Jack Daniels. That was just iced tea.
He could toast his drink, and I got my my little blunt over here, so I'll toast it off camera.
There you go. All right, so let's talk about what you just talked about with Daniel Jones. Let's get into Daniel Jones for a minute. Look, here's the thing, right? You guys drafted Mac Jones. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now, Frank, I could be wrong because my memory is not always as good as it used to be. But y'all guys drafted Mac Jones the same year, the same year as the Giants drafted Daniel Jones, correct? Or was it, or were they off years?
Off years.
Okay, for some reason I had that in the same draft, but okay. Like I said, my mind's not as great as it used to be. Okay.
Actually got drafted the same time as Tua Tagovailoa.
Okay. And what were the Giants drafted in that category? Do you remember what position they were in? Were they in the top 5, top 3?
It definitely was in top 5.
Okay. And the Dolphins, were they the point I'm getting at is, because I don't have the draft order in front of me, was Tua available when the Giants drafted?
I'm not 100%.
Again, I don't have that draft. I'll tell you what, while I give my spill, pull up that draft and let me know what position they were drafted in while I give my spiel. Let's talk about Daniel Jones for a second while Frankie looks up the draft position, because I want to come back to that, because I think that's a key point.
I'll be right back.
To put up. Now, I think it's a key point to talk about is where Daniel Jones was drafted. I don't like Daniel Jones. I didn't like Daniel Jones when they drafted him either. Like Frankie said, I didn't like it either. I thought it was not a great draft for them. And again, I don't know the draft position in terms of where Miami was when they drafted Tua. Frankie's going to give that to us in a minute. And that's going to give us even more clarity on it. And if you know in the comments, let us know in the comments where Daniel Jones was drafted. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go to my comments right now. I got a couple in here. Glenn Richardson says, "Congrats on AL MVP Aaron Judge." You're right. Congrats to Aaron Judge. Hey, hell of a good season. Although, in a comma, Glenn, you know, like I know, that Aaron disappeared in the playoffs. So who gives a damn about the damn AL MVP? Because your AL MVP stunk up the joint in the World Series and cost them in it. But anyway, congratulations, Jared Jones. Congratulations on a regular season MVP. I hope it was worth it. Bo Crouch says, ha, 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 ha. Watch out for those Modelo's. Bo, I have graduated from Modelo's. I am now having a Jack Daniels and iced tea. But if you're my counselor, it's not Jack Daniels and iced tea. That just say that to make it look good. It's actually just sweet tea.
Wait, you drunk with Modelo before you started drinking your sweet tea?
No. Bo's just saying that because I'm famously known for drinking Modelo's.
I was gonna
say. Glenn goes on to say, "I toasted to it because Frankie is here." Glenn, that's why you're the man, because you enjoy a good toast like anybody else. That's my timer. My timer says, "Jay, it's time to take your pills." No, I'm not taking pills today. I'm taking Jack Daniels. Leave me alone. Okay, so Frankie, what position was Miami drafting before the Giants, or were they after the Giants?
So I do not see Tua Tagovailoa on this list. He could have been the year before this list, but I do not see Tua on this list. This was actually the draft class with Kyler Murray, who went number 1 to Arizona that year, and the Giants actually had the number 2 pick, going out and picking Daniel Jones with the number 2 pick. This is also the class where you had Dwayne Haskins, who went to Washington Redskins at number 3 at the time, currently now the Washington Commanders. Drew Lock went to the Denver Broncos. Mind you, he went number 4 to the Denver Broncos. But Drew Lock today, right now, he's actually the backup to the New York Giants, to Tommy DeVito, which is funny in this case. Then you had Will Greer or whatever. He went to Carolina. This was the Jarrett Stidham draft class, who went to the New England Patriots at number 7, which is weird. I think we made a trade that year when we got Jarrett Stidham, or he's probably he's the 7th quarterback. He was the 7th quarterback off the board. But yeah, Daniel Jones went number 2 overall to the New York Giants that year.
Would it be safe to say that obviously Kyler Murray earned that number 1 spot? But everybody after Kyler Murray was pretty much just a weak draft class. Would that be a fair assessment?
It was a weak draft class. That year was definitely a weak draft class. I wouldn't say that Kyler Murray. Obviously, Kyler Murray won it. He's literally the only quarterback left on the team that drafted him from that point in 2019. But he also hasn't had very much success, Jay, as a starting quarterback with Arizona. I mean, I understand he's dealt with many injuries in his short time in the NFL. But even when he was playing, I don't think he's had much success. He's had, maybe some jaw-dropping moments or some wide open eye moments that we look at and we're like, whoa, what the hell? Damn, that was amazing. That was crazy. But I haven't seen much success yet out of Kyler Murray. I don't even think he's made it to the playoffs yet. Dang it.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Glenn says Mara, which is obviously the owner of the Giants, ain't done shit for the Giants since 2011. He let Saquon walk to the Eagles. You know what? Here's the thing on that, Glenn. I don't know. I don't know if you can criticize him for that, because let's be honest. The Giants aren't exactly contenders, and Saquon is a little older, and he's got bad knees, right? Now, he's doing great things for the Eagles, and I'm coming to you because I see you shaking your head no. I'm going to come to you. I'm going to let you give your response. But I don't think that Saquon going to the Eagles hurt the Giants, right? Because at the end of the day, by the time the Giants even get to being competitive, if they can get to being competitive through this rebuild, how would that have affected it? Saquon Barkley being there probably would have been at least 3 or 4 more years older than what he is even currently right now. So I don't know if Saquon, if they got, I don't know what they got. And Frankie, when you speak here in a second, you can let me know. I don't think they got any draft picks or if they got any capital letting him go to Saquon. I think he just walked on his own as a free agent. And if that's the case, it just is what it is. But at the end of the day, you got to put a lot of this on Mara or even his GM. And I don't know who the Giants GM is. I don't have their roster of administration in my brain. But whoever the GM is for the Giants, you got to start looking at him. Because at the end of the day, they still took on Daniel Jones. Now, they brought in Dable, which, as you know, Dable and McDermott were the ones that developed Josh Allen. And Josh Allen in the very beginning wasn't looked at highly like he is now. Now he's looked at as a highly touted quarterback. But back in those days, in the very beginning, he was not. And we didn't know what they had in him. But Dable and McDermott, they developed Josh Allen. He became the quarterback that he was. Dable then left, and Sean McDermott took over the control of the Bills, and Dable left to go to the Giants. And Dable was not even able to develop Mac Jones. I mean, not Mac Jones. I apologize. Daniel Jones. He was not able to develop Daniel Jones in any way, shape, or form. And that kind of tells you that Daniel Jones wasn't the right guy. And I'm even kind of wondering, and Frankie, you can correct me on this, was Daniel Jones selected during Dable's coaching hire, or was that a previous coach before Dable? And I forget who it was. But can you elaborate on that, Frankie?
Yeah, that was before Dable. I believe that was Ben McAdoo at the time.
Okay. So, and again, that was not a Daniel Jones hire. It was the previous coach before his hire, correct? Okay. Was that correct? It was the previous coach's hire, Frankie?
I believe it was Ben McAdoo.
Okay.
That was head coach for the Giants at the time.
Okay. Robert Wardell. Hey, Rob. I know Rob from Coast to Coast. He comments a lot. Appreciate you hanging out with us while we talk about this, Rob. Rob is, correct me if I'm wrong, Rob. I might be wrong on this, but I feel like you're a Seattle fan. And I think I'm correct on that Robert is a Seattle fan. Robert, if I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. Robert Wardell says, I would say it's more embarrassing for the Giants because he has been made a glass, then goes to Philly for a career year, kind of CMC last year. Now, you know what, Frankie? I would almost agree with that. The only thing that keeps me to agree with that, and I'm about to come to you, Frankie, so you can give your full skill on all that we've talked about. The last thing I want to say on Robert's comment is this. If Saquon was counted on early in his career like CMC was, I would give you that. But let's be honest, Saquon at the very beginning of his career was almost MIA because of injuries. Christian McCaffrey for the Panthers was actually a very large part of the offense. Matter of fact, I'd say probably 70% of the offense went through Christian McCaffrey right from the very start. And then over time, Christian McCaffrey developed injuries because of his overuse. I would say that the reason why I say it's not a fair comparison is that Saquon never had that with the Giants. He was injured for a large part of the interim. It was until the last year before he got traded that he started showing signs that he could be relied upon. Because I will tell you, Frank, you know, like I know, I didn't want to draft that guy because I felt like he had glass knees. He was going to go out of style. So I don't know if you can compare that to Christian McCaffrey. It's almost like an insult to Christian McCaffrey because he wasn't hurt. He went on to do great things. Whereas Saquon was injured and then went on to do a productive year, and then obviously he went to Philadelphia where he's having a great year. So I think with Barkley, it's more so that he is now finally coming into his own. And he's gotten over the quote unquote injuries that he's had. Anyway, I'm going to defer now to Frankie. And Frankie, man, what do you got to say to all that we've been talking about, brother?
So with I'm going to start with Robert since we got him up right there right now. And I do agree. It's totally embarrassing for the Giants. Like literally everybody is laughing at the Giants organization. I wouldn't say with Saquon Barkley that his knees were made out of glass. Like, listen, he was in the NFL for like 3 years before he got that first major injury that he had. And it's tough. It was like, I think it was like a torn ACL or something like that he had. And it's tough to come back from something like that. It really is, which is why, for example, the San Francisco 49ers held Christian McCaffrey out for so long, right? The man had an injury. He said he was good to go at the start of the season. The 49ers was like, no, we're going to make sure we wait until you're 100% because we're not going to ruin you because you're the backbone of this team. So we're going to wait until you're actually 100%. We're going to wait until you can literally bend your knee to where your foot is touching your ass. Like, that's when we're going to wait. The difference with the Giants, and I've been saying this for years and years, they have slowly forgotten their offensive line. And that's the one reason why Saquon Barkley got hurt really bad, is because the offensive line was absolutely terrible. They couldn't protect. They kept getting to Saquon Barkley quickly before he can even get off past the line of scrimmage. It was really bad, which is also why Daniel Jones had a shitty career in New York. I'm not gonna put the man down. He's a starting quarterback for a reason. He was in the NFL for a reason. He had a productive year at Duke. The Giants wouldn't have drafted him if they didn't see something in him, right? So he obviously he has something good, but he wasn't that good. And most of the times we blame it on the offensive line. I give some part of the offensive line to it, but then again, I give it most of it to Daniel Jones, because he's absolutely, to me, in my eyes, he's terrible. I've been saying since day one, who the hell drafts a quarterback from Duke? Like, you get other players from Duke, not a goddamn quarterback. Like, that's a Canadian team going to draft a quarterback from Duke, not the NFL. It was really shocking to me. This isn't the NBA. You don't get good players out of Duke in football compared to the NBA. But with what with what Glenn said right here, this is what hit me, because I actually like Mara. I really do. He's a really good owner. He really is. He wouldn't be a two-time Super Bowl champ if he wasn't good. And he did have a really stout team in the late 2000s, early 2010s or whatever like that, whatever how you call it, decades, the 2010 decades. So he had a really stout team. And I looked up the GM's name. His name is Joe Gohan, something like that. Terrible last name. Let me bring it back to August, Jay, where the New York Giants said it's okay for Max to bring in Hard Knocks and go ahead and do your little Hard Knocks thing on the Giants. We've seen it. We've seen it. So you can't sit here and say it's on merit, because if you watched Hard Knocks, the one thing he said is, if we let Saquon Barkley walk, I'm gonna have a terrible time sleeping. He knew it. He knew it. It was the GM's fault, who went out and didn't want to give him his money. Instead, he wanted to give it to quarterback who had one good goddamn year. One out of, I think, out of 7 seasons, whatever he's been in there. He had one good year, and he takes him to the playoffs. Congratulations. Went to the playoffs. Did you win? No. You got eliminated in the first round. Why in the hell are you extending a quarterback this amount of money for this many years, to where you could have gave it to Saquon Barkley, who was actually the guy for you? He proved it to you last year, where he was like, you had nobody. You had no receivers. You had no line. You had no tight end. He was literally the only one that was giving you touchdowns, giving you yards, giving you everything that he could give you. And he showed you why he even told you, I want to be a New York Giant. I want to finish my career. I want to be here for the rest of my career. I want to retire a Big Blue. And the GM goes, okay, well, go out and go out and get some offers. But the one thing I want in return is for you to come back to me and give me the number that they're giving you, so that we can match it or give it better. Why in the hell would you do that?
Yeah.
You're telling him right now to go out and seek an offer to just come back to me and tell me the number so I can match it or give it better. Why didn't you do it 2 years ago instead of giving it to Daniel Jones? It makes absolutely no sense to me, and I'm sure that's why Saquon left, because once the GM gave him that look and said, listen, go out and seek some offers, see what you can get. That's giving Saquon Barkley in his head, like, okay, they're not even trying. They don't even want to keep me here. So the hell with it. And what better way to do it than to go across town to Philly, a rival, a team that the Giants literally can't beat the last 10 seasons. They literally cannot beat the Eagles, no matter who's the quarterback in Philly. The Giants can't beat them for some odd reason. And he's laughing at them. He's laughing at them. And the difference between the Giants and the Eagles, Jay, the Eagles have an offensive line. So Saquon has time to get, to get his yardage and stuff like that. And if Saquon can't, guess what? They have weapons. The Giants messed up hard by not
Yeah,
by
absolutely.
vamping that offensive line for Saquon Barkley, not giving him a talented, more stout quarterback. Because let's be realistic, if the Giants, if the GM really wanted to, if you want to go out and be GM of the year, you got to go make a goddamn trade for a solid ass quarterback. It don't matter if you give up a first round or 2 year first round picks. It wouldn't matter as long as you get a stout quarterback that's going to take you to the playoffs or at least into the Super Bowl. Look at the Rams and Matthew Stafford. The Rams haven't had a first round pick. This past draft in the 2024 was the first pick in I think 7 years for the Rams to have a first round pick.
The interesting thing about that, Frankie, the interesting thing about that, first, Robert, let me tell you right now, Danny Dimes over Rush or Lance, to me, and Frankie, if you disagree, let me know. It's a wash. Danny Dimes, Rush, Lance, it's a wash. Does it move the needle up or down? No, it stays plateaued. So bringing in Daniel Jones, it wouldn't be prudent for the Cowboys. Matter of fact, not only would it not be prudent, but it would be absolutely the worst thing. Not that Jerry Jones hasn't committed a lot of stupid decisions in my book as a Cowboys fan, but if he actually went and hired Daniel Jones, I would actually go into hiding and wear a paper bag. Not that I'm not wearing it currently. Physically and in our imaginations, Jay McLovin has a paper bag over his face with the eyes cut out and the mouth cut out because I am embarrassed to be a Cowboys fan right now. I'm embarrassed about the decisions that Jerry Jones has made. And if he actually went out and got Danny Dimes, I would be so much more embarrassed than I currently already am now. So, no, I don't want Danny Dimes. It's not going to move the needle, and it's going to be more cap that we got to take on. Let's just let that crap die in the wasteland. Secondly, I want to say this. With Saquon, I want to apologize. Frankie, you are correct. And I want to say this because I want people to understand this show is fact-based. I don't want no BS on this show. This show is a fact-based show. So to basically go back to what you were saying, in 2018, which is Barkley's first year, he put up 1,300 yards. In his second year, he put up 1,000 yards. Now, 2020 is when he went to, and he had that injury issue. I think it's the ACL you were talking about, Frankie, and he only put up 34 yards. But then he comes back at 21 and puts up 593 yards. And that was obviously coming back off of that ACL injury. So we'll give him credit for that other part of that 500 yards. And then at 22, he shows us exactly why he was injured. Because he puts up 1,300 yards in 22. But he does have a down year in 23 where he puts up 962. But then he gets traded to the Eagles. And currently with the Eagles, he's at 1,137. So I said all that to say this. You're correct. Barkley was producing. It's just when he had that injury in 20, that's when he got lackluster. And I think a lot of us probably went back to his early days with where he was I forget where college he came out of. Frank, you might help me on that in a second. I think it was Penn State, but I'm not 100% sure. But when he came out of that injury mode, a lot of us were thinking, okay, is this now where he was at when he had the knee surgeries in college, or is he going to be okay? And I think, Frankie, you know that he actually showed us he was okay because he went on back to a stellar career at the end of it that he started at the beginning. But Frankie, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, and you know what? Like I said, it's tough to come back out of an injury and put up numbers that you put up, and you just said it. He went into 2020 with an injury. He had like a 30-something yards. And then he comes back the next year off of his injury of his ACL, and he puts up 500. Imagine if he was 100%. See, the Giants messed up there and not letting him rest when he wanted to. They said, listen, you saying you're healthy, we're going to put you back out there. He only produced 500 plus yards, right? Then 2023, you said he put up over 1,000 yards. And then last year he put up close to 1,000 yards, but because the offensive line has been so trash for the Giants and they haven't been, focusing on protecting the quarterback or protecting the running back, That's why he wasn't able to produce well. And I just want to throw that out there for everybody. He did not get traded for Jay and for Glenn. He did not get traded to the Eagles. It was a free walk. He was a free agent, and the GM simply told Saquon before trying to sign him. Saquon gave him a chance. He said, "Yo, what are you gonna offer me?" They gave him an offer. He didn't like it. I think it was like 21 million or a little bit less than that.
Over how many years? Do you remember how many years that 21 million was? It over a 2 or 3 year period? Because the reason why I'm saying that is about a 10 million is the highest on the market value for a running back is 10 million. I think Jonathan Taylor was the only one to actually get to the 10 million mark, and I think he actually got 11 million on his contract. But everybody else has been 10 million or less.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it would have been like a 3-year deal, probably.
Okay.
But he didn't want that. Like, the man has been producing really well for you. Like, literally, I've said it. He carried the Giants on his back since 2018, minus the injury, But like, if he didn't get injured, he would have still been carrying that team on his back. Mind you, they did not have an offensive line very well for him to be doing what he was doing. So for them to just like let him go out and be like, listen, go seek what you can get. That was a dumb move on the GM part, and the owner. You could see it on his face at Hard Knocks. Please, if you haven't watched it yet, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a Giants fan, if you're not a Giants fan, go to Max, go back into August, or even look it up on your search bar. Type in Hard Knocks for the New York Giants. Rewatch it. You will see the owner of the Giants literally stressed out when he heard that Saquon Barkley was a Philadelphia Eagle, and the GM is just sitting there like laughing. Yeah, and it tells the owner, literally, Jay. He tells the owner, "We'll be all right. We'll be okay."
Yeah.
Are you okay now? Are you okay now? Because it doesn't look like you're okay now. Guess what? Saquon's over there in Philly already 11 games into the season, going on week 12 this week already. We're already into week 12. The man's already over 1,000 yards. He's freaking doing back hurdles over other teams that we haven't even seen. What type of running back are we seeing that's literally spinning off someone that's like it's Madden 2K and then he's doing back hurdles? Like, that's insane. He's literally laughing at the Giants as we speak right now on this podcast. He is literally laughing because he's like, ha ha ha. You just let go of a person that you're paying so much money to that you could have gave it to me and I will still be there right now helping you guys win. This is not just an embarrassment to the Giant fans, but it's an embarrassment to the Giants, period. Like, I don't get it. It's really tough. I feel really bad for Daniel Jones. I really do, because he hasn't had a really good shot. It's kind of like Mac Jones when he came to the Patriots. They didn't have good opportunities and good chances because of the way the GM had set them up for failure. But then again, Daniel Jones is actually a bad quarterback, and I said this to everybody. I said this to you guys on the chat earlier. Is when I've seen Daniel Jones play, when a quarterback is under pressure and you don't have a target to throw to, you throw the ball away. You lose the down, but you don't lose any yardage. You don't gain any yardage. You just replay from where you're at. Daniel Jones, he would not throw the ball away. He would throw the ball away in field, and it will always get picked off, or he'll just take the sack and take the -7 yards. That's not good quarterback play. That's really not good quarterback play. And you've been in the league since 2019, and you're still doing the same thing. It's 2024. You're still doing the same goddamn thing. It's been a long time coming for the Giants to do this. I think it's way past overdue. If I was the Giants, I would have seen this. I wouldn't even care if he was still on his rookie contract, Jay, and he got us to the playoffs. I wouldn't even care. Listen, that was a one-time thing. I am not re-signing you. I am not picking up your 5th-year option. We're going to go a different route. Because if you would have went a different route, I swear to you, Jay, the Giants right now, they could have had someone better. They could have had C.J. Stroud. They could have had Caleb Williams. They could have had Justin Fields. They could have had someone better. They really could have.
And that's the thing. And that's why I want to go back to the very beginning. Before I go back to the very beginning of what I was telling you and why I think it's relevant now, I want to go to Glenn Richardson, says, I was embarrassed too, Jay. Yeah, I'd be embarrassed if I was a Giants fan right now as well. Hell, I'm embarrassed as a Cowboys fan right now. But if I was a Giants fan, I'd be embarrassed as well. I want to go back real quick to the beginning of all that, where I felt like the draft class was weak, right? The draft class, like you said to me, after Kyler Murray, in terms of a quarterback, it was a weak draft class. So I'm like, why am I going to waste my pick on a weak quarterback when I can have any other number of positions at that spot and get a better player for whatever hole it is I need? Or, which would be the more prudent way to go, trade down from that pick, get more additional picks, and use that to build your team. And then, you're going to still suck the following year because you have a crappy quarterback. Come back the next draft class, like you were talking about just a second ago with C.J. Stroud and all the other quarterbacks, and go grab a good quarterback when it's a stronger draft.
Yeah, and I said that too. Listen, I just said it. The Rams went 7 straight years without a first-round pick. 7 straight years. And that's because they're trading it away to get solidified players into that organization. In that 7 years, they went to 2 Super Bowls and won 1. That I call that a success, kind of. I really do. And they're still a good, solid team. You went out and you got Matthew Stafford. Like, that's what the Giants should have went and done. They should have went out and got like a Kirk Cousins at the time when, like you should have went out and tried to get Kirk Cousins. You should have went out and tried to get you say Bryce Young. Listen, Glenn, I'll tell you right now, if Bryce Young would have got drafted by the New York Giants, Bryce Young would have more success on the New York Giants today than Daniel Jones had on the New York Giants' entire Giant career. I promise you that. Do you want to know why? Because Bryce Young would have had weapons. Bryce Young, he would have had Saquon Barkley, because I guarantee you the Giants would have let Saquon Barkley go if they would have opened their eyes and said the hell with Daniel Jones. But they didn't. They're dumb. But if Bryce Young was on the Giants today, I guarantee the Giants wouldn't be Super Bowl contenders. They wouldn't be playoff contenders, but they definitely wouldn't have 2 wins. They would definitely have more wins than that.
Yeah. My thing with Daniel Jones and the New York Giants is, rather than trade him, and like Philly sports guy said earlier on Coast to Coast, well, what would you have really got for him? I don't know what you would have got for him. I don't know. You wouldn't know what we got from him. I don't know anybody know what you would have got for Daniel Jones. But my thing is this: why not put him up on the trade block first and see if you can get either a draft picks, even if it's a 5th or 6th rounder, or even a 4th rounder, put him up and see if you can get picks or some kind of compensation for letting him go. You let him, not only did you let him go, but you're still on the hook for whatever guaranteed money he has coming to him. Well, if I got to pay this guy some guaranteed money, I'd at least try to get some compensation in terms of draft picks or whatever else before I just put this guy in the open market for anybody to grab that I'm still picking up the dime for it. That, to me, doesn't make business sense. And they always talk about the NFL, MLB, NBA. They always say it's a business. Well, if it's a business, why aren't you trying to get the most for your return off of what you're giving up, Frankie? I don't understand that.
I'll tell you why. It's kind of how the Yankees can't trade away Giancarlo Stanton. They can't trade Giancarlo Stanton because, for one, he's injury prone and he's too much money. For the NFL, if they go out and they put Daniel Jones on the trade market, what NFL team is truly going to look at him and say, well, let's go ahead and take on this contract for a quarterback who literally can't win a game?
Oh, I got the answer for that. You know what you do? You say, okay, maybe the Giants take half of the contract on and the other team takes the other half, or whatever, percentage, the Giants want to take on and the other team takes on to make the deal work. And I will tell you this, any money they can save on the cap is still better than letting him go outright and still be responsible on the current and next year's cap, right? I mean, get something. I don't care what it is. Get something and replace him. Would you agree or disagree?
Definitely. Or I would have just kept him on the roster and put him, like, they dropped him down to QB4. That's practice squad quarterback.
Yeah, it is.
Keep him on the practice squad then. Like, that's all you got to do is just keep him on the practice squad. If no team is going to pick him up, just keep him there, hold him there, wait until the season's done, and then that's when you decide to, like, either trade him or release him or something like that. That's when you decide to do it. I saw First Take this morning, and they said something that really, Stephen A. Smith said something smart that caught my eye, because Daniel Jones went out yesterday on social media and he's like talking down on the Giants organization. He's talking how he's about to walk away from the organization. He's about to be done with these guys. They took his, Brian Daboll stripped his captain patch off of him, and naming him the QB4. Did the Giants fire this guy yesterday? Stephen A. Smith made a good point. He said to me, I feel that the Giants released Daniel Jones yesterday. They fired him yesterday, and they didn't want to make it public until today. Well, guess what? Daniel Jones made that shit public last night when he went on Twitter or X or whatever you call it, Instagram, Facebook, all social medias, down talking the Giants, saying how he's about to walk away from the Giants organization. He don't want to be Big Blue no more. Why are we waiting a whole day for this to happen? This is long overdue. I feel like the Giants are it's just you're making yourself look even more sorry. Like you let your best running back go. You pay this quarterback more or before paying your running back just to go ahead and fire the quarterback anyway that you decided to pay over the running back that decided to leave. It makes you look so bad. And if this don't open the owner's eyes into finishing the season and letting that general manager walk, I don't know what else the Giants can do. I wouldn't say everybody wants to blame it on Dayball and stuff like that. Listen, I wouldn't blame it on him. I say give him one more year, go into this year's draft, and let him pick the quarterback that he wants. Right? Let Brian Dayball pick the quarterback that he wants out of college, draft him, bring him to the Giants, and let's see what he can do with that quarterback in 1 year.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this for a second. Now, earlier in the show, I asked you, if the fact that Dable, who developed Josh Allen, couldn't develop Daniel Jones, and I said if he can't develop Daniel Jones, then who can? Let me ask you this question. Now, there are two quarterbacks that come to my mind that are just or equal to being a lost cause as Daniel Jones. The first one that comes to my mind, obviously, is Geno Smith with the Seahawks, who came out and had a blockbuster career now with the Seahawks, but we wrote him off for dead. The second one that comes to mind is Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold has been all over the place, numerous teams. When he landed up with Minnesota, it's 3 teams, I believe. He landed up with Minnesota. Then he takes off. He goes on to a blockbuster type of career because he's got better personnel in receiver groups and lines, offensive coordinators, philosophies, all of that, right? My thing is this. Is Daniel Jones really done? I don't think he is. I think if he caught on with a team or got into a situation like Sam Darnold or Geno Smith, and I'm not saying by all means that he's going to make it out, but I would say this. If he got a shot like Sam Darnold got or Geno Smith got, could he then become a good quarterback with the certain weapons and philosophies in place?
I mean, he could definitely have a shot. He can definitely have a shot, but I don't see any NFL team right now that's going to pick him up and give him a job and give him an opportunity at that. I mean, the one team that probably would come to mind would be Carolina, but Carolina's no better than New York. They don't have an offensive line. They don't even have weapons. I mean, who do they got? Adam Thielen, who literally is never on the field. He's always hurt. So I mean, he could definitely have his moment. And like Glenn said earlier, or I don't know who said it earlier. Robert maybe said it earlier. Um, if Daniel Jones was to end up a Cowboy, will that make it a little bit better? No. Daniel Jones. I don't see Daniel Jones as a good quarterback. I really don't. I see Daniel Jones kind of like how we saw Johnny Manziel. Football wise, not attitude wise. Not going out to the clubs drinking. Stuff like that. But football wise, I don't think Daniel Jones is that good of a quarterback. I don't know if he got drafted too early out of college and he didn't have that much that full 4-year experience that most quarterbacks get. But I don't think any coach, any organization, no matter how good you are or how bad you are, or even if you're bad that's about to be good, I don't think Daniel Jones is the answer. I really don't. And I think if Daniel Jones wants to recertify himself as a good quarterback, you got to take it to another how do you say a league. If you don't want to go to Canada and play there and do what Johnny Manziel has done, put up some good numbers and show your talent, then go to the UFL or USFL or whatever they call it nowadays. I mean,
I agree.
you
I
look,
agree.
you look at those players. Some of those players are actually former NFL players who either got cut, couldn't get a job anymore, didn't get drafted, and can't go back to college. Those are the kids that are trying to play in that league, and then most of them gets drafted, gets picked up
Yeah.
from. So I mean, if you want to recertify yourself as a good quarterback, that's the one thing that Daniel Jones has got to do. But as of today and as of next year or for the future, if he doesn't do that, I don't see any team picking him up. And it's not just his fault for being a bad quarterback. It's also the Giants' fault for literally having a bunch of film on him being such a terrible quarterback.
No, I agree. And Robert Wardell says it's funny too because both guys were Jets, laugh out loud, and they were. And that just kind of tells you about the Jets organization, right? They had great quarterbacks, didn't know what to do with them, and now those quarterbacks went on to better scenarios, better organizations, better run organizations, and now have obviously shown you what their worth really is, and not what it was with a less than successful franchise. And I got to tell you, Frankie, when you're drafted as a quarterback, when you go to those crappy franchises like Carolina, New York Jets, New York Giants, or whatever, or Cleveland Browns, unless you're just truly gifted and you can escape, or even Chicago Bears, where you can escape when your offensive line can't hold it down, which is very far and in between, you're just going to waste away your talent. And it almost can be a career ender. As a matter of fact, if I was going to the draft as a quarterback and I'm a highly touted quarterback and I got drafted by Carolina, my head would be like, damn. Because I'm thinking all I'm thinking about is bro, when this contract is over with, I am so out of here. Unless you just give me $600 million over 10 or $700 million over 10, which isn't going to happen realistically, I'm so out of here. I'm going to go to a better franchise that needs a quarterback or a better organization that needs a quarterback, because I feel like if I stay at Carolina, if I stay at New York Giants, if I stay with the Jets, my career is just going to go down the sewer because these organizations are terrible. And in return, it's going to make me look bad. Well, it's not my damn fault that my lineman can't give me enough damn time or the receiver group to get to in the first damn place.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we talking about, right?
Look at
Aaron. At the end of the day, it is what it is.
Look at Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't even look like the MVP quarterback that we know. He don't even look like the Super Bowl champion quarterback that we used to know back from Green Bay. This man is absolutely trash, and it makes me so proud. It honestly do, because I've had this prediction since day one, when everybody was asking me, "Oh, he's gonna be on the Jets. Does it make you a little bit nervous? The Jets and the Bills. It's gonna be a competition between the Jets and the Bills." It ain't. I laughed and I said, "Listen, it don't matter who their quarterback is gonna be. This organization is just trash. It doesn't matter." And it's what's funny about it is Aaron Rodgers went in there, got Robert Saleh fired, and then tells the owner, "I want this player, I want that player, I want this player." You got the players you asked for.
No. Frankie, let's back up a second. There's one guy that you missed, and I can't believe that you missed him. With all that's been said, I'm surprised. I am almost flabbergasted that you missed this one guy. Who went to Denver to try to recruit Aaron Rodgers, only to get demoted from his quarterback coach or offensive coordinator? I mean, who got demoted over there, right? Hackett was supposed to be the quote-unquote guy that brought Aaron Rodgers to Denver. Well, now they finally link up with the Jets, and who gets demoted?
Mm-hmm.
Hackett.
Mm-hmm.
Who gets fired? Saleh. And who's still there? Aaron, I'm going to go to my dark room for 24 hours and come back and be a new person. Rodgers. What a time to be alive. I don't care who you are. The dysfunction of Aaron Rodgers is comical. Having said that, I will tell you this, Frankie. I predicted this, and I still think it's going to come to fruition. I said early when Aaron Rodgers went to the Jets, I said he is following the exact footprint that Brett Favre did. He went to the Jets. Who went to the Jets? Brett Favre. Who also went to Minnesota Vikings? Brett Favre. Who is linked maybe to go to the Vikings? Aaron Rodgers. I'm telling you, if it comes to fruition that Aaron Rodgers goes to Minnesota, the circle of my prediction is complete.
It's just terrible. I feel bad. I honestly, Aaron Rodgers, I feel bad for it. It's the guy I call the Hail Mary King because we haven't seen many made Hail Mary touchdowns more than Aaron Rodgers throw. But it's just I feel bad for a man who literally is a Super Bowl champion, former MVP, all this stuff, and I feel bad for the man. But hey, at the end of the day, it makes me happy. You wanna know why? Because the Cowboys and the Jets have 3 wins, just like my Pats, baby. So you're not better than me. I'm not better than you. We are freaking equal, baby.
And on that note, that is a perfect segue to get the hell up on out of here. Hey, listen, if you guys have enjoyed this content, please like, comment, and after we get out of here, you can still comment. We'll get back to you. But like, comment, and please subscribe on YouTube. That's how we get our message out to more people, is by what you guys do on YouTube in terms of subscribers. Please, if you've enjoyed this content, give us a like on YouTube and a subscribe on YouTube. In terms, I'm Jay McLovin. It's your boy Foxborough Frankie C saying, we love you. We appreciate you. Thank you for commenting. And until next time, we out.